My mom told me to move out of the first house I ever bought so my pregnant sister could live there. When I said no, she told everyone I had chosen a house over family. What she left out was that I had been paying her mortgage for 23 months. She also left out that my sister had already used my address to enroll her son in school, listed me as a backup guarantor on an apartment application, and told her husband my house was basically handled. They thought I would cry, feel guilty, and give in like I always did. Instead, I printed every receipt, every Zelle transfer, every screenshot, and every email. Then I let them bring the moving boxes to my front porch. My name is Mara, and I was 29 when I bought my house. Not a dream house, not some huge place with a wraparound porch and granite countertops. It was a 2-bedroom bungalow outside Columbus, Ohio, with uneven floors, old cabinets, a backyard full of weeds, and a bathroom sink that made a weird knocking sound if you turned the hot water on too fast. But it was mine. My name was on the deed. My key worked in the lock. For the first time in my life, I had a front door nobody else could open just because they felt entitled. I work as a payroll coordinator for a regional dental company. It's not exciting, but I'm good at it. I know dates, numbers, deductions, tax forms, late deposits, and the quiet panic people get in their voices when money doesn't show up where it's supposed to. That skill made me useful at work. In my family, it made me available. My older sister Lacey was always the one everyone protected. She was 32, married to Devin, pregnant with her third baby, and somehow still treated like a teenager who couldn't be expected to understand consequences. If Lacey was late on rent, Mom called me. If Lacey needed new tires, Mom called me. If Lacey forgot to budget for school supplies, Mom sent pictures of my nephew's worn-out sneakers with little sad face emojis. And if I hesitated, Mom always said the same thing. Mara, you know how your sister is. You're better with money anyway. That sentence sounds small. It wasn't. It was the family rule. Lacey got to fall apart. I got to clean it up. My dad left when I was 11. After that, Mom held onto her house like it was the last proof that she hadn't lost everything. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, brick ranch, maple tree in the front yard. I understood why she loved it. So when she called me crying 2 years before I bought my place and said she was 2 months behind on the mortgage, I helped. I just need to catch my breath, she said. I'll pay you back once things settle. I sent $1,400 through Zelle, then another $1,400 the next month. Then it became normal. Around the 25th, I would get a text. Honey, mortgage is coming up. Can you help me breathe this month? At first I told myself it was temporary. Then I told myself she was my mother. Then I stopped explaining it to myself because the explanations started sounding pathetic. I was saving for my own house at the same time. That meant cheap lunches, no vacations, overtime during payroll conversion weeks, furniture from Facebook Marketplace, and saying no to almost everything fun. When I finally got approved, I cried in the parking lot of my credit union. I sat there holding the pre-approval letter in both hands like it might disappear if I moved too fast. Closing day was a Friday. My realtor gave me a Home Depot gift card and a bottle of cheap champagne. I sat on the empty living room floor that night, eating pizza off a paper plate, staring at the ugly cabinets and thinking, I did this. 2 weeks later, Mom invited me to Sunday dinner. That was rare. Mom didn't make Sunday dinner unless she wanted something. I brought a grocery store cake that said New Home in blue frosting. My nephews ran around the living room. Lacey sat at the kitchen table with one hand on her stomach. Devin barely looked up from his phone. Mom smiled at me all through dinner. Not proud, careful. After we ate, she cleared her throat. So, she said, we need to talk about something as a family. My fork was still in my hand. I put it down. Lacey looked at her plate. Devin locked his phone and placed it face down. Mom reached across the table like she was about to comfort me for the thing she was about to ask. Your sister is in a difficult position. I looked at Lacey. What happened? Our lease is ending in June, Lacey said. And rent is insane right now. I nodded slowly. Okay. With the baby coming, Mom said, they need stability. I already didn't like where this was going. Mom kept talking. The boys need a yard. The baby needs a room. And your house has 2 bedrooms, Lacey added. 3 if you count the office. It's not a bedroom, I said. It doesn't have a closet. It could be a nursery, Mom said. The table went quiet. I looked from my mom to my sister to Devin. You want Lacey to move into my house? Mom smiled like I was finally catching up. Temporarily. How temporarily? Lacey glanced at Devin. Devin looked at the wall. Mom sighed. Mara, don't start interrogating everyone. I'm asking how long my pregnant sister, her husband and 2 kids are supposed to live in the house I just bought. Lacey's eyes filled immediately. You don't have to say it like that. How should I say it? Mom's voice got soft. That was always worse than yelling. You could stay here with me for a while. I actually laughed once because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. My old room is full of your treadmill and Christmas bins, I said. We'd move things around. So I leave my house, I said, and move back into your house while Lacey lives in mine? Lacey wiped under her eye even though no tear had fallen yet. You're making me sound like I'm stealing from you. I looked at her. You are. Mara, Mom snapped. There it was. The tone. The one that meant I was embarrassing her by reacting normally. Then Lacey said the line that stuck to me. You don't even have kids. Why do you need a whole house? Like my life was extra space. Like my future was a storage unit. I said, because I paid for it. Mom leaned back like I had said something disgusting. Wow, she said. That is an ugly way to talk about family. I should have walked out then. Instead, I sat there with my throat burning while Lacey cried and Mom rubbed her back. Devin finally spoke. Stress isn't good for the baby. I stood up. I'm going home. Mom followed me to the door. Mara, stop being dramatic. I'm not giving Lacey my house. Her face hardened. Then maybe you should think about what kind of aunt you want to be. By the time I got home, the family group chat had already started. Lacey wrote, I can't believe my own sister would rather let us struggle than help her niece and nephew. Mom wrote, everyone please pray for Mara's heart. She's not herself right now. Aunt Jo asked, what happened? Mom answered, she's choosing a house over family. I sat in my driveway reading those messages under the porch light of the house they had already decided I didn't deserve. I didn't respond. The next morning my cousin Tessa texted me. Are you okay? My mom said Lacey was supposed to move into your house and you backed out last minute. Supposed to? I typed back. I never agreed to that. Tessa didn't answer for a minute. Then she sent screenshots from another group chat I wasn't in. Mom had written, Mara will come around. She always does. Don't push too hard until after closing. Lacey replied. I already told the preschool we're moving to Grove City. I used Mara's address for the waitlist because Mom said it was basically handled. Then Devin wrote, please make sure she's serious. I don't want to give notice and then get stuck. Mom replied, she'll feel bad once she sees boxes. Trust me. I set the phone on my kitchen counter and walked away from it. Not because I was calm, because if I held it one more second, I was going to throw it. They had planned this before I even closed. Before I had slept one night in my own house, they had already turned it into Lacey's backup plan. I called the preschool first. My voice was shaking, but I kept it polite. Hi. I'm calling because someone used my address for enrollment without my permission. The woman on the phone couldn't give me much, but she confirmed my address had been submitted as a future residence for a child with Lacey's last name. What do you need from me to correct it? I asked. A written statement from the homeowner would help. Homeowner. That word steadied me. I sent the statement. Then I opened my banking app. I searched Mom's name in my Zelle history, 23 payments. Most were $1,400. Some were $900. One was $2,200 because she said property taxes had hit harder than expected. The total was $34,700. I stared at that number for a long time. That was more than my down payment. That was my fence, my emergency fund, my new kitchen cabinets, my first real vacation, my breathing room. Then Tessa texted again. There's more. I'm sorry. She sent another screenshot. This one was from Lacey to Mom. Did Mara send mortgage money yet? We need $500 for the daycare deposit. Mom replied. She sent it. I'll cash app you tomorrow. Don't mention it to her. I sat down on the floor. For almost 2 years, I thought I had been helping my mom keep her house. Part of that money had been going to Lacey, the same Lacey who wanted my house next. I wish I could say I felt strong in that moment. I didn't. I felt stupid, then angry, then embarrassed that I had been embarrassed. I made a folder on my laptop called House, then another one called Mom Mortgage, then another one called Lacey Address. I saved everything. Texts, screenshots, Zelle records. The email from the preschool confirming my address had been removed. 2 days later, I got a call from an apartment leasing office. Hi, is this Mara Bennett? Yes. We're processing an application for Lacey and Devin Carter. They listed you as a potential guarantor if needed. We just wanted to confirm your email before sending documents. I closed my eyes. There it was again. My name, my credit, my house, my future, all treated like family property. I am not a guarantor, I said. I have not agreed to sign anything for them. Please note that. The woman paused. Oh, I'm sorry. They said you were aware. I'm aware now. After I hung up, I sat at my little kitchen table for almost 10 minutes. Then I texted my mom. I can't pay your mortgage this month. She called immediately. I let it ring. She called again. I let it ring again. Then she texted, this is not the time to punish me. Not, are you okay? Not, can we talk? Punish me. like my money had belonged to her all along. I replied, I've paid you $34,700 since last year. You also sent part of that money to Lacey without telling me. I have screenshots. She didn't respond for 18 minutes. Then she wrote, why are you keeping score? I stared at that message, because nobody else was. On Sunday, Mom announced a family talk at my house. She didn't ask. She just told people to come. Tessa warned me first. Your mom told everyone to meet at your place at 3. She said you need support making the right decision. Support meant witnesses. Support meant pressure. Support meant enough people watching that I would feel too guilty to say no. This time, I was ready. I printed the Zelle records. I printed the preschool email. I printed the group chat screenshots. I printed the leasing office email confirming I had refused to act as guarantor. I printed the screenshot where Mom promised Lacey part of my mortgage money. I placed everything in a yellow folder on the kitchen table. Then I made coffee. At 2:58, 3 cars pulled up. Mom walked in first without knocking. Lacey came behind her, one hand on her stomach, the other holding a tote bag. Devin carried 2 folded moving boxes under his arm. Actual moving boxes. Aunt Jo followed with her church purse and tight mouth. Tessa came last and stood near the back door. Mom looked around my living room and sighed. This really is perfect for the kids. Not your house is cute. Not I'm proud of you. Perfect for the kids. Lacey walked straight to the office. She stood in the doorway and said, the crib could go there. I looked at Devin's boxes. Why did you bring those? Devin looked at Mom. Mom said, we thought if you saw how serious this was. No, I said. The room went still. Aunt Jo frowned. Mara, don't start like that. I said, no one is moving into my house. Lacey's face folded. I'm pregnant. I know. My kids need stability. So do I. Mom stepped forward. You are one person. And this is one house, I said. Mine, Devin muttered. Denise said this was handled. Mom turned so fast her earrings swung. Devin, he looked confused. What? You did. You told us she agreed in everything but words. That was the sentence. Everything but words. Aunt Jo looked at my mom. Tessa stared at the floor. I opened the yellow folder. Thank you, Devin, I said. That actually saves time. Mom's face changed. For the first time she looked scared. I took out the first page. Since March of last year, I have sent Mom $34,700. Aunt Jo blinked. For what? Her mortgage, Mom said quickly. She offered. I turned to her. You cried and told me you were going to lose the house. I was scared. And then you kept asking. Lacey crossed her arms. So now you're humiliating Mom because she needed help? No, I'm explaining why I'm done being used. I placed the Zelle records on the table. Then I placed the screenshot from Lacey. Did Mara send mortgage money yet? We need $500 for the daycare deposit. Mom stared at it. Aunt Jo picked it up slowly. You sent Lacey the mortgage money? Mom's mouth opened, then closed. Lacey snapped. It was for the kids. It was my money, I said. Sent to Mom so she wouldn't lose her house. Mom's voice shook. Family helps family. You didn't ask for help, I said. You built a system where I paid and everyone lied. Lacey started crying. You're doing this while I'm pregnant. No, I said. You used being pregnant to make this harder for me to say out loud. Devin put the boxes down. That tiny sound, cardboard hitting my floor, made me angrier than all the crying. I pulled out the preschool email. You used my address. Lacey wiped her face. It was just for the waitlist. You told them you were moving here, Mom said, because we thought you'd understand. I put down the leasing office email next. And you listed me as a guarantor. Devin looked at Lacey. Lacey whispered, only if we needed it. I almost laughed. Only if you needed my credit after failing to take my house? Aunt Jo sat down without being invited. Mom grabbed the edge of the counter. Mara, this is getting ugly. It was ugly when you planned my life without me. You're making everyone uncomfortable. Good. That word surprised me. I had never said anything like that to my mother. Good, because they should have been uncomfortable. Mom lowered her voice. If I miss more payments, I could lose my house. I looked at her. The house you wanted me to move back into? Her eyes filled. Mara. No. You don't get to use the house as my guilt and Lacey's backup at the same time. Lacey said. Where are we supposed to go? I don't know. You know we gave notice. I know you gave notice because Mom told you my house was handled. Devin said. We can't afford the new apartment without a guarantor. Then you shouldn't have applied for it using my name. Mom started crying then. Not soft crying. Angry crying. You've changed. I nodded. Yes. She shook her head. I don't like this version of you. That's okay, I said. This version pays her own mortgage first. Nobody spoke for a few seconds. Then I said the part I had practiced 3 times in the mirror. No one is moving in. I'm not co-signing anything. I'm not paying Mom's mortgage anymore. If any of you use my address, my name, or my credit again, I'll document it and report it properly. This is the only warning." Devin looked at the door. Lacey whispered, "You'd really do that to family?" I looked at the folder. "You already did it to me." They left 20 minutes later. Mom called me cruel. Lacey said she hoped I never needed anyone. Devin picked up the boxes and refused to look at me. Aunt Jo lingered on the porch. "I didn't know all of that," she said. "I was too tired to be gracious." "You didn't ask." She nodded once and left. Tessa stayed. She helped me put the papers back into the folder. "I'm sorry," she said. "You told me the truth. I should have told you sooner." I sat down because my legs were shaking. "You told me before they got the keys." That was enough. The next week was messy. Mom told people I had cut her off during a housing crisis. Lacey posted a vague Facebook status about how pregnancy shows you who your real family is. 2 women from Mom's church messaged me. One wrote, "A mother should never have to beg her daughter for shelter." That one almost got me. Almost. Then I remembered my sister standing in my office, choosing where the crib would go. So I made one group message. I added Mom, Lacey, Devin, Aunt Jo, Tessa, and the 2 church ladies who had decided my mortgage was their business. I wrote, "Since my home is being discussed, here are the facts. I bought my house alone. No one else is on the deed or mortgage. I paid $34,700 toward Mom's mortgage over 23 months. Part of that money was sent to Lacey without my knowledge. Lacey and Devin used my address for preschool enrollment without permission and listed me as a possible guarantor on an apartment application I never agreed to. I will not move out of my home. I will not co-sign. I will not send more mortgage payments. Please stop contacting me about this." Then I attached the receipts, not every document, just enough. The chat went quiet for almost an hour. One church lady wrote, "I'm sorry, I didn't have the full story." Aunt Jo wrote, "Denise, is this true?" Mom left the chat. Lacey wrote, "You're disgusting." Devin wrote, "This affects our kids." I wrote back, "Using my name affected my life." Then I muted the chat. By July, Lacey and Devin had moved into a smaller apartment 40 minutes away. Not the school district she wanted. Not the yard she had already imagined. Not my house. Mom missed payments in June and July. In August, she listed her house for sale before the bank situation got worse. She told people I forced her. I didn't chase every rumor. But when someone asked me directly, I told the truth. "My mom didn't lose her house because I stopped helping," I said. "She lost it because she built her budget around using me." That sentence cost me something, but it also freed me. Because for years I thought being a good daughter meant catching everyone before they hit the ground. Now I understand something uglier. Some people stop trying to stand when they know you'll keep breaking your back underneath them. In September, Tessa's roommate moved out with almost no notice. She was taking night classes at Columbus State and working at a daycare, and for the first time in my life, someone asked me for help without acting entitled to it. She said, "I know this is awkward after everything, so please say no if you need to." I let her rent my spare room for 6 months. Rent, not guilt, not pressure, not a family emergency. She paid $400 a month, bought her own groceries, and labeled her leftovers like a normal person. She also helped me paint the office sage green. Lacey found out and texted me. "So Tessa gets to live there, but your pregnant sister didn't?" I wrote back, Tessa asked. "You planned." She didn't respond. Mom moved into a 1-bedroom apartment in October. She sent me one voicemail after the move. "I hope you're happy," she said. "That house was all I had left." I listened to it once while standing in my kitchen. Then I deleted it. Because the house she was talking about had been all she had left, but mine was all I had built. Lacey had her baby in January. A little girl. Mom sent a picture. I stared at it for a long time. The baby was beautiful. None of this was her fault. I mailed a blanket and a card that said, "Welcome to the world." I didn't send money. Lacey never thanked me. Devin texted 2 weeks later. "Blanket came. Thanks. That was more than I expected. It's been almost a year now. My cabinets are still ugly. The bathroom sink still knocks. The backyard is still mostly weeds, although Tessa and I did manage to grow tomatoes in one corner. The office never became a nursery. It became the first room in my life where nobody was allowed to need something from me. Sometimes I sit in there after work and do nothing. No emergency transfers, no mortgage texts from Mom, no guilt speeches about family, just quiet. I used to think peace would feel like happiness. Sometimes it feels more like grief with the volume turned down. I don't hate my mom. I don't hate Lacey, but I don't trust them with my money, my credit, my address, my home, or my guilt. And that boundary has done more for me than any apology they never gave. So I'll ask you this. If your family planned to move into the first home you ever bought before you even agreed, would you have handled it differently? Would you forgive a mother and sister who used your money, your address, and your silence against you? Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you for listening. If you want more stories like this from her confession room, please like, subscribe, and stay for the next confession.